Yo, crypto nation and mining family. Crypto nation and mining family. What's going on? Of course, like always, it's not financial advice.
Yo, crypto nation and mining family, what's going on? So, you guys, if you watched my really long video from my last one, you would have seen me pull apart this 5700 50th anniversary edition that my man Nefarious was nice enough to allow me to borrow. You saw me tear it down, kind of take a look at the insides on there. Really wasn't anything hugely different than what I've seen on all the NVIDIA cards that I've pulled apart. So, I mean, technology-wise on a PCB, they're relatively the same. So, I mean, even with their new high-ends, I was just kind of curious also to see how they configured their cooler, which they kind of made one with the body of the whole support bracket that goes along with the PCB, and it looks like they're using that whole mechanism there. Oh, and that's it. So they're using the whole bracket that they put down onto it with the cooler to determine height, and everybody's thinking it's spring pressure off the PCB. Oh, no way. I think I figured it out. So, I just kind of thought about it, but while I had it apart, I pulled the whole top off of the cooler to get at the cooler, thinking it'd be like NVIDIA, and the cooler fell out of the NVIDIA casing, because that's how you're supposed to tear it down to clean the cooler properly. And I also wanted to take a look at the fan, which was relatively loose in there after you released it off the PCB. But the cooler, I couldn't get to release off of the support bracket that went all the way around it. They're controlling height with that whole support bracket. Everybody's thinking it needs more tension pressure. That's not it. What you're doing whenever they put the washers in to tighten it down, like Nefarious had on here, which I just put him back, is that you're kind of flexing the whole PCB towards, you're basically deflecting the chip right at the cooler a little bit more. But what I noticed that whenever I pulled it apart is that the graphite pad that was in there that Nefarious put in was only contacting on 3 edges, which means that that whole bracket's not level. I bet you that's the whole issue with that card, is that they didn't have good enough tolerances to figure out true level. They sanded it crooked. I think I figured it out. Oh my god, I almost want to test this theory out. But it's not my card, and I don't think it's going to give a huge noticeable difference, but I bet you that's what the issue is with it. Is that the whole height of the cooler rests on that bracket. Oh my gosh. That's the problem. If anybody from AMD ever watches this, ever, that's the issue with the 5700 with your cooling issues. Is that you guys gotta sit there and sand it more level. And Nefarious, I don't know if you want to test this theory out, but I bet you don't need to put those washers underneath it in any way, shape, or form. It probably needs like thousandths of an inch taken off. I mean, just like a skim cut. And you got to figure out how far off from true level it truly is. mind-blowing right there. Just kind of like thinking about it. It's like the little engineer inside of me whenever I'm trying to fabricate something onto a car and I'm noticing it's not fitting, so I have to kind of like visually look at it with it in there, and I'm kind of like retrospecting and remembering how I looked at it. But yeah, I bet you that's the whole issue with that card. It just wasn't trued up the right way with a tight enough of a tolerance. They needed to go just a little tighter on their tolerances. Yeah. So yes, that's my like kind of thought pattern sometimes. But I just kind of thought about it. It makes plenty of sense to me, at least. I mean, if you guys disagree with that idea, if you watch my video, the cooler is a part of the main bracket. What's your guys' thought if somebody were to take a skim cut right on there and true it up the rest of the way? Would the 5700 series actually have better cooling? Agree or disagree? Leave some comments in down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that too. Yo, so let's dive into some other stuff here. Yo! Bam. So, if you were in the realm of getting a couple of games, and few of the games would be Resident Evil 3, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Warcraft 3, or Monster Hunter World, Iceborne Master Edition, or Monster Hunter World, Iceborne Master Edition. Yeah. That's a really long title and unnecessary. But that's just me. But if any of these games are what you're looking for, well, you could probably get these games and then take the respective cards and just sell them off. Because they're not that good at gaming. At least for all the games that I would play, they will lag. I mean, I like their CPUs, but I even know that the CPUs hold me back in gaming sometimes. And just because I don't have their latest and greatest Ryzen, or Threadripper, so I DCA into my stuff slowly at a time. So I'm waiting for that 2990 to actually drop down into a reasonable price tag. And I might scoop it up because my motherboard should be able to handle that one at least. That'll be a huge jump from where I'm at right now. But talking about these games, it looks like the 5500 series will be coming with 3 games: Resident Evil, Tom Clancy, and Warcraft 3. Looks like the 5700 series is coming with Monster Hunter, Iceborne Master Edition, and Resident Evil 3. If these games are right up your alley and you're looking for a graphics card, there you go. Any of the other series will not be getting any games. They will just get 3 months of Xbox Game Pass for the PC, which the Game Pass will give you a couple of games here and there. Sometimes they're alright titles, sometimes not, so it's a roll of the dice. But yeah, if you're looking for some games and you're looking to start a new build and you want to keep it in the AMD family, not saying that the AMD graphics cards are bad. I just have my issues with them myself. I fight the drivers all the time. At least that's what I've been doing on Windows. Not so much. I mean, in the beginning on Linux, it gave me a little issue. It was a little temperamental on Linux, but then it was like I got used to it. Now it's all good. On Windows, I'm going through that little curve right now. Moving right along. So, Asus ROG is officially launching their white edition. Trust me, it's nothing special. and it's actually been out for a little bit. And so if you're looking to build like a clean white build, you can get it in white instead of black now. My only complaint on these is you made this alright looking white chassis, white fans. Cool. How much does it cost to get a white PCB? They put their regular green PCB. Like a horrible accident happened in here. I think they could have done better. Made it all white instead of that, or make the PCB black. The black and white contrast would actually look better. And I mean, that's just me, not green. It's green. I don't know why they did that. I would have done white, but at one point in time, I thought about making a all-white mining rig, and nicknaming the rig White Noise. But it doesn't look like I'm going to be building them out that way, just because I'm not spending the extra money to get designer cards. So I mean, this is nothing really special over anything else except that it's white. So you get two options. Yay! But here's actually one that I've been keeping my eye on for a little while now, which is Intel coming out with the DG1. They're like a prototype that they finally brought to CES 2020. So they actually started the debut on their graphics card. They are going to be divided into three main groups: the XE, the LP, HP, and the HPC, which will probably be like a high performance, mid-grade, and then portable. What's interesting on there is it depends on where its actual numbers are when they finally launch this, but it's a single fan. There's no other connectors on there. I mean, throughout all the photos that I've found, there are no extra 6-pin, 8-pin connectors on there. So this thing is not calling for any other power except from the PCIe lanes. Now, that's kind of, I mean, it depends on how much performance they can pack in this. But that also means that there is a maximum draw of 75 watts through this rail. That's maximum. You remember my rules, guys? 80% rule. So you're not going to be able, you're not going to want, let me put it that way, to pull 75 watts off the rail. It depends on how your motherboard is going to like that. Are they gearing this more for the 4.0 PCIe ports now, the newer ones that just came out? Hard to say. But if you were to try to use it for mining, you're not going to get any of those benefits unless it's plugged into the board to check it out. So if they don't have extra power ports, this thing is going, in my opinion, will be bottlenecked from there. The other thing I like about it is, well, it's Intel coming back into the game. So we got another graphics card contender here. And if they can make this thing hit into the 1050 series level on their first try, I think they've got a pretty good chance on actually bringing to market something very good in the future with a little bit of refinement on their end. But I do like how it looks too. I mean, I wonder if it's gonna be, I mean, I hope it's like at least way better than a 550 Ti, because that's kind of how big mine is. I've got a 550 Ti right in the next room, and it's got that same look to it. So hopefully this is just going to be their small form factor that they were kind of showing off here before they show off their big bad boy one, right? So leave some comments down below what you guys think about all that with this new Intel graphics card. Which performance do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be like a 550 Ti performance, which would be really old architecture? Or do you think it's actually going to play in the 10 series format? And if it's a 10 series format, which one do you think it's going to compare to? I think it's going to compare to a 550, a 1050, maybe a 1050 Ti, somewhere right around there. What's your thoughts? And while you're down there, go ahead and smash that lizardy like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you haven't already. Share this video with at least one other person, and of course, like always, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.